Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the Ball Brothers Wrestling Show with your host, Jeremy Martin.
That's one way of putting it, yeah. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. It's been a very busy few weeks for me.
Let's see. Trying to.
We were going to be on last weekend, and unfortunately, I had to work 4 days straight at the fire department.
Yeah, we were
Not, I
last
don't want to do that again for a while.
yeah, last week and the week before that and the week before that and the week before that. We've been trying to do this show for 2 months. But things happen.
Yeah, we're going to say I live a busy life.
I do too. Lots and lots of things going on at the moment right now. It's sometimes I feel like I'm not even able to keep my head on straight.
I hear you.
Uh,
Jeremy came through Mississippi a couple weeks ago. Got to visit and show him around a little bit.
well, on my
And he
page,
had hair back then.
yeah, I'm still working on trying to share this out.
I was trying to share as well, and for some reason, something was not working right.
Uh,
Usually, yeah,
February 9th was when we did our last show.
really? Oh, that's been a while.
Yeah, that was when we did the review on the Rumble.
Well, a lot's been going on since then. Uh, have been able to watch a couple Raws, and depending on the night, SmackDown on Friday. Uh, I did not get to see last night's, but I did see some clips.
Oh, last
One
night
with
was real good.
one with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany going at it back and forth, and they made it personal. Tiffany started. Tiffany, from what I see, Tiffany made it personal before Flair did.
She did make it personal. It seemed like for a second there, Charlotte was going after her for real.
Yeah, and it may have hit a nerve, or she may have talked about it backstage. Like, yeah, let's throw it out there.
Yeah, I don't know. And then Charlotte made a comment about Kaiser being in her DMs.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Then when they put it up on YouTube, they edited all that out.
So that leads me to believe that they kind of went off script
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yep. that's what that's what the consensus is. But then again, nowadays you really never know because they encourage you to really amp it up.
Well, and it could be that them two talked about it, and they agreed to the jabs back and forth, but didn't tell
Yeah.
producers and stuff. It's like, no, we
And,
ain't
and
doing that.
nowadays it's been hard to tell. But the best part was the end of the show. Um,
You're talking with Cena and Cena shit with
CM Punk.
CM Punk and yeah, that was good. Which I kind of expected that was the favor. For those of you who don't know, the CM Punk favor for Paul Heyman is he's going to have Paul Heyman in his corner during WrestleMania.
Yeah, so that just took that
Roman,
up to another level too.
yeah, Roman wasn't happy about that, so he went after Paul a little bit, kind of put back in the corner, and CM Punk hit him behind, and
And Paul was crying too.
yeah,
He had real tears coming out of his eyes.
Well, you know, for those things, you can probably work up something sad in your life and get them to come out. So, and Roman said, like, even so, are you crying? And you hear chuckles out of the crowd.
Yep. Um, so I am looking. I'm looking forward to that match and probably any other match at WrestleMania right now. Um, I know it's going to be closing night one, but with the way everything is right now, even with I don't know, because the thing with Cody and John, that is,
I think that's going to be night two. You got to do the title on the second night.
yeah, you do, but
Well, you should. It's not say you will.
it wouldn't be the first time that the title did not close the show.
Well,
It's rare, but it wouldn't be the first time.
everybody remembers last year's. I still watch it and just in awe with the ending. The last 5 minutes of the match was just
That was insane, wasn't
emotional uh, all the way around. It's one of the better endings of any WrestleMania that I've ever seen.
it? It
The way
was
it
good.
transpired.
That's for sure. It was really really good. Probably the best one that they've had in years. Um, and you could tell between last year's WrestleMania and the Mania before that. Well, actually, maybe even go back one more year. Um, now that Vince doesn't have control over anything, so you can definitely see the change there, and you were just flashing
Yeah,
again.
I don't know why I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, but at least this time it wasn't over and over and over.
Going through the wiki page and look at the matches we've got so far. So much is going on. It's hard to keep up with everything.
Well, we ended up losing one of those matches last night. Um, we will no longer have Randy Orton and Kevin Owens.
I saw something where I saw a post where Kevin Owens is out indefinitely. I didn't know if that was real or not.
So what's going on with Kevin right now is he's got some kind of injury to his neck, and the he had an MRI either this week or last week, and the MRI shows that he has. Hey Chris, that he has to have surgery,
What
and
up, Chris?
he has to have it now. He doesn't know if um, once the surgery is done, if he'll be able to wrestle again after that. Yes, he did. I went back and found that clip. Randy cashed in on a prepaid fine for his arcade. That was funny. I have been waiting on that too. um, and speaking of which, I wouldn't mind seeing Randy versus Nick Aldis at WrestleMania. But I saw somebody posted on Facebook. Apparently, there is a rumor that Randy will still have a match, and it's going to be like what they did with Cody when he returned. That is going to end up being Aleister Black making his return to WrestleMania and taking on Randy Orton.
Excuse me.
But I don't know if that would be the best thing for Alistair because everybody's going to be happy that he's back. But it wouldn't make sense to do that with him and Randy Orton because of how popular he is.
Right. You know, they'll switch gears. They'll pull an audible and find somebody. Is Sami Zayn doing anything?
No, he's out too.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Okay. Well, there goes
They've said that he's out indefinitely right now after that match that he had with Kevin.
that. That was pretty intense.
Yes, it was. Well, I was telling you guys this before that this is the best run Kevin's had in a very, very long time. Um, and now watching that last night is, oh boy, if this is the end, then he ended on a hell of a run.
Yeah. Um, you know, so many matches that are I don't know, high profile. I'm kind of looking forward to this WrestleMania over. Last year was looking forward to it anyway, but this one is like there's a lot of good matches that are coming up.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of people are still crapping on Jey Uso and Gunther.
it turned a little more personal uh, with Jay, and that's what they needed to do. They needed to make it more personal, and I think it was that Monday night that happened.
It was on a Monday night. I don't remember if it
It
was.
was this past Monday because I worked that Monday,
Did you?
and there was a guy at the station that was watching with me, and I was kind of filling him on what's going on. He didn't watch, and I said, you watch what I tell you. It's like something's going to happen. Gunther's going to just beat the snot out of him, and he's
Oh, he
going to
did.
leave him bloody, and his brother's going to just flip his shit, and that's what's really going to push him over the top.
He started rubbing his blood all over his body,
Yeah.
and then he started licking his finger too, like he was tasting Jimmy's blood.
Yeah, I wonder if it was real blood or was it capsule or what the deal was.
Now I think it was real blood.
Uh,
I don't know.
he spit it out pretty quick though. Did you see that part where he
The
tastes it and then he spit?
Yeah,
Um,
I did.
but it's going to be interesting to see what happens Monday night with that whole thing. I think Jay will probably open up the show that night, and
That's what I'm guessing.
he's going to go off.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing because Jay right now is the best person today anywhere to get the crowd going,
Yeah.
and that would be the best way to open WrestleMania, which is probably why the Roman, Punk, and Seth are in the main event. They want Jay to open. And that's another thing that a lot of fans are crapping on too. This is the first year in 8 or 9 years that a Rumble winner is not in the main event.
Yeah. But I think that's a good call. If they start the show with that match, it's going to be the crowd is going to be amped up.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I really don't see any other match that would be able to open a show unless it's AJ and Logan. I can see.
I don't think it has the same hype as it's going to be a good match, but I don't think it's got the same crowd hype as Jay and Gunther.
No, nobody will be like Jay.
Now, what's going to suck is who's going to be second match. That's gonna suck.
Um, I think on one of the two nights, the second match will be the women's tag match, um, which is unfortunate, but somebody has to go second.
Yeah,
Somebody has to go second, and it's not listed here, but everybody is saying that Street Profits are going to be taking on Motor Machine Gun, Motor City Machine Gun. That they will be having a match at Mania. It's not listed officially yet, but everything is sounding like that match will take place at WrestleMania as well. So the two tag title matches will probably end up being the second matches of the two nights. And yeah, Chris, I saw that finisher. That was
that was insane.
it was, but the problem is, will he be able to do that to everybody?
Smaller guys, yeah. Bigger guys, no.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
Jacob Fatu might be able to. I don't know, but that's one of those moves where you have to be on it, or somebody's going to get hurt real bad.
mhm.
And speaking of Jacob Fatu, I'm glad to see that he's getting his own singles match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I see a little bit of tension with him and the bloodline there. That's going to eventually erupt. Might even erupt on WrestleMania 41, uh, where he kind of not really goes babyface, but gets because all it takes is one little thing with him is him standing up to Solo, and it's like boom, he just turned babyface.
I feel bad for
Crowd
Solo.
wise,
I feel bad for Solo because he got pushed to the moon last year, and now it's like we're not seeing him at all in anything. He wasn't even in the Rumble this year.
yeah.
He at least had that.
um, yeah, they're kind of after the him losing to
To Ro-
Roman, it seems like we're done with this storyline. We're done with you. Just we got something else we're going to do with you. Now they're pushing Jacob, and it's like there is no, you know,
which is not surprising.
right. There is no solo bloodline anymore.
Yeah,
And just, they're not doing anything. And it's kind of like the White Six. I was all hyped to see Alexa Bliss come back. Um, very, it's like all right, but now you haven't seen her since then. I was like, what the hell are they doing?
we haven't seen her. We haven't seen Wyatt Six either.
So what are they doing? Are they going to pop up at WrestleMania?
I heard that. I think I heard that Bo got injured somehow. Um, so they might be waiting on the whole thing because I think they still want to put Alexa with the Wyatt Six, and she belongs there.
You say I'm wrong about this, but she could lead the White Six. They could do a storyline where they get back in there, they get her back in there, um, joining the Six, and then there's this takeover with her
I agree.
taking over the Six.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm,
She
that would
can't
be a good
lead it.
storyline.
Hmm. Um, but out of everybody in the Wyatt Six, the two that I have been most excited about seeing are Eric Rowan and Dexter Loomis. I had been high on Dexter from the time that I saw him when he was in NXT. He just has that serial killer look to him. Um, Good in the ring. He just has that look like you can't ignore that. He does not blend in with the crowd.
Hmm.
Um, we're going to see Jade versus Naomi.
I'm not really all hyped up about that match. Um,
I think there's going to be a swerve there.
she
Um,
admitted she admitted to doing it, so I don't know how
well,
they would.
yes and no. The way that she admitted it was almost like, you know how on some cop shows they get somebody who the police is totally convinced this person is guilty, but this person is actually innocent, but they keep beating down on him over and over and over until he finally admits that he did do it because they beat it out of him. I'm thinking that Bianca Belair is really the one who did it. Um, and then went on to do her match. And when Jade came around, she saw Naomi leaving because she came and saw her like that. And once Jade came back, she just went right after Naomi because that's who she saw. That's what she said, that Naomi was the first person she saw. So that doesn't necessarily
I
mean
mean, she did it.
actually the one who did it.
I would love to for that whole thing to come out that Bianca was the one either putting Naomi up to it or she's the one that actually did it.
I think that's what it's going to turn out to be, that Bianca's the one who actually did it, and the truth will come out at some point. Um, I don't know if it will happen at WrestleMania. Um,
It'd be a good way for a SummerSlam match with them two. I was hoping that we would see Jade and Bianca at WrestleMania. That to me is a WrestleMania match.
mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, I'm going to guess that's what we're going to be seeing next year.
Good. It'll be a long, long time to. Well, if they keep the current um, storyline going with the whole attack and all that stuff, it'll be a long stretch to do that for a year. Unless some point in time it pops back up right before WrestleMania.
It wouldn't be the first time they've done something like
You
that.
know, some lost some lost footage, stuff.
Yeah. Well, look at Rock and John Cena. Um, 12, 13 years ago. They had a 3-year run across three different WrestleManias, but they didn't stay current all the way through. John had his little things here and there. Rock had his stories with CM Punk. So,
I
yeah.
think it was a point. I would think it was a point in time when I took a break from watching. I wasn't really watching a whole lot during the Cena, champion era. Uh, the whole spinner thing and the you know thugonomics thing just it wasn't my cup of tea.
I hated that spinner belt.
I think everybody does except for John.
Well, Vince had to like it too, because if he
Vince is
if he didn't like it, that belt wouldn't have happened.
well, Vince is notorious for doing a lot of crazy out of the box type stuff. Some things work, some things don't. Um,
That is true. That is true.
What looks good on paper doesn't really look good on the show. It's like, that didn't work out too well. Let's just cut that out.
Yeah, but
But
the thing is, you just never know what is actually going to go over.
that's true. I don't know who was in the sitting room talking about the angles of Mark Henry and Mae Young and the birth of the hand.
Oh,
I don't know that that could not have looked good on paper either. I mean,
this was during that time that turned me off of wrestling. Um, I stopped watching them shortly after they bought out WCW, and then they did that whole invasion thing, and got it just got so bad that I just stopped watching altogether for 6 or 7
that
years.
that invade when they bought WCW and
ECW.
yeah, well, that was a little bit after the WCW, but when Shane McMahon shows up on WCW and then like, holy shit,
That was cool.
and it was like, and then they bought out, and then they did this little invasion thing. It was like, man, I was excited about that when it happened, and they really dropped the ball on it.
Yeah, they did.
I would have kept them total, and I've said this before. They should have kept both of them separate, completely separate, and had a crossover every so often. Um,
WrestleMania could have been that crossover.
right, you could have had, and not necessarily change title for title stuff, but it's just so much they could have done with it. You could have, the dream matches you were begging to see, for years, could have actually happened. I would have loved to see Stone Cold and Goldberg at that point in time.
Everybody wanted to see that one.
But you know,
Yeah. People wanted to see Undertaker and Sting, but
and I don't know.
Sting didn't come with them when they bought out the company. So
Yeah, we all know that story because the way WWF was kind of, I don't know, just kind of burying some of the talent from WCW, making them look inferior to their product. Um, I don't know. It's just more ego thing that came about when that was bought, and the direction Vince was wanting to go with it. I think, and not.
perfectly honest, I can't say from that standpoint, I can't blame them because
I bought the
a lot of
competition.
people saw WWF as superior to WCW, and in many ways, it was.
It was, but at you know, it's like I bought my competition. Now I'm going to destroy my competition completely, where it's no longer there anymore.
And he did.
He did, and I think it was a wrong call.
There was a video clip that I was watching on Facebook. They had Steiner Brothers versus Terry Gordy and Dr. Death Steve Williams. It was back at the 1992 Beach Blast pay per view for WCW, and I'm looking at that. I'm seeing the way that the crowd was and how the ring was set up, the ring apron and that ramp there, and I keep thinking, that those were the best times seeing all that stuff and growing up with this, and I wish we still had that, but with the way that not just the wrestling business in general, but with the way that they are doing the sponsorships and how they have to appeal to certain demographics with TV and Netflix, um, and plus with how the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Committee, or whatever they are, the fans that seem to have a thinking that no, you should be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. That's stupid. Why are you doing? Oh man, I hate wrestling fans.
Some wrestling fans.
Some wrestling fans, yeah.
What gets me a lot, and if you are watching, sorry, but you see posts on Facebook about, all right, just say somebody cheats, and they wind up winning because of a cheat, and they're sitting there, if she cheated, she should have been disqualified, or he cheated, he should have been disqualified, or this and that. It's like, referee didn't see this, didn't see that. It's like, people, it's a story. You know, this is called a script. This is how they go. This is
I Those are the people I hate more than anything else.
where it's like this is all actually everything is real. It's all totally real. They hate each other. They you know
These people can't let us have our fun.
right. It's part of the show. Yes, we get excited. And that emotional side of it comes out. Just like WrestleMania 41.
Now with that, did you see the two
But
clips? Did you see the two clips of Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman last night?
I did not.
When you were watching, you watched Kevin Owens walking away, right?
I just saw a little thing on Facebook where it said something about, he's out indefinitely, and I'm like, I chalked it up as being because I've seen a lot of this too, conspiracy stuff or just made up post crap just to get comments and stuff.
Okay, no. This one here was actually had to do with a fan in the audience. It started with Kevin when he was walking out. It was like in that last corner there before they get out into the wide open. Kevin was walking away while Randy was still in the ring, and a fan yelled out, "You're you're not shit" or something like that. And Kevin took offense to that and got in this guy's face. Um, and the camera went from that over to Randy and stayed on Randy that whole time. So you knew something was going on. And then later on in the night, after Braun Strowman had his match, he was limping back. Um, and this same fan, it was hard to hear him, but it almost sounds like he was calling Braun Strowman the big slow. And Braun took offense to that. Um, but yeah, I have a problem with those people who want to get
Yeah.
out there and just really put down the people that are entertaining us.
Well, it's like I forgot who it was, but somebody was there was a female walking down the ring, and they snatched a sign and ripped it all up, left it on the floor. Um,
Oh, there's been a few that have done that.
that was recently, but there was one. I'm trying to think of who it was. It was had to be Monday night. They were sitting outside the ring. There were several people outside the ring, and somebody just was in this kid's face, just constantly. One of the wrestlers. I'm like, he was just sitting there mouthing at him and all this, and just during this little segment, he was just kind of giving him a stare down. I was like, what the
Oh,
hell is he doing? He's a kid.
I don't I don't know.
It had to be Monday night. Um,
I haven't seen anything in. I see a lot of wrestling stuff. I've been seeing more wrestling stuff on my Facebook feed than I have the paranormal, and I got to be honest, it's very refreshing. But that's another story. But I've been seeing a lot of wrestling stuff on my Facebook feed, but I haven't seen anything about that. The only thing that I have noticed about something involving a kid was when John Cena pointed out a kid when he did his first promo
now
after.
that wasn't. Yeah, that was in the ring. This was outside by the entranceway. They're coming where they come into the ring.
I
This
don't
to
know.
the left, little kid in a blue shirt. I do remember that.
Little kid in a
Yeah,
Chris. Do you know anything about that?
it had to be Monday night because it was too recent for me not to forget it. That's not freaking old.
You see, the only female wrestler that I can kind of see doing that would probably be Liv,
Mm, probably.
because she's
Um,
been getting more TV time than pretty much anybody. Um, I don't see Charlotte doing that. She's on Friday, but maybe Naya.
no, it wasn't. Um,
Yeah, Liv's the only one that I can think of that might do something like that.
who did she fight? Did she fight anybody Monday?
What, this past Monday?
Yeah.
Um, okay, that's a fair point. Uh,
This was with his dad was right there with him. They had a sign up and stuff like that.
Monday Night Raw. Where are you? Okay, here we go. Uh,
Female wrestler tearing up the sign and all that, that was different than the male wrestler really jawing at the kid.
there was only one women's match this past Monday, and that was Io Sky and Rhea Ripley with Bianca Belair as the uh, referee. But none of those three would tear up a fan's sign because they're all.
Now that must have been it must have been farther back. But the the wrestler jawing at the kid, I believe that happened Monday night. Had to have had. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. Um, another piece of big news from last night: Ray Phoenix is in the WWE now.
I saw a clip of that. Um, I
Yeah,
did see that. Saw a little bit of the match here and there. It was on a highlight reel,
yeah.
so it was like skipping every 5 or 6 seconds of stuff.
The
Saw
new
some
ring
outline
announcer that
stuff.
they have on Friday night is badass. I don't know who he is, but he's brand new. I think he was either a boxing ring announcer or an MMA ring announcer, but I listened to him announce two people last night, and I thought this is the guy that they need at WrestleMania.
See if I can pull him up. Mark Shinnock.
Personnel.
Mark Shinnock.
Shuna.
Yeah.
Oh, they're calling him Mark Nash. They're calling him Mark Nash. Yeah, I don't know anything about this guy, but I heard him announce two people, and I thought this is a huge get for them because he has that voice that you need, and they will be crazy to not have him do the announcing at WrestleMania. I don't know if they're the best ever, um, but they're pretty damn good. Penta and Ray
What?
Phoenix. I cannot wait to see those two together. Well, actually, I think I might have it in AEW, but that would have been years ago because I remember seeing Penta over there.
Ooh, excuse me.
Tired.
It's just been past 2 or 3 days. I can't sleep at night with it all.
Let's talk about the Hall of Fame.
All right. Now they're introducing greatest matches.
Yes.
Um, I don't know why it ought to be a shoe in the first year. Taker and Mankind, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. That one was. Oh man, you can't even describe that match. But I think next year that match will be the next one. I think that the reason that they did Brett and Steve because I think that that match was what truly kicked off what became the Attitude Era. Because Steve will tell you himself, without Brett, there will be no Stone Cold. And the way that they did that match, the double turn, um, Brett won by a technical knockout instead of an actual submission.
Mm-hmm.
The whole vibe of that match and just the visual of it, I think was what really truly kicked off the Attitude Era.
Well, that you got that. You see the clip of him in the sharpshooter with just blood pouring down his face.
Yeah,
I've seen that little clip many, many times. Yeah.
that is probably it is one of the most iconic images ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Steve Austin is credited as bringing the WWF back up to mainstream like Hulk Hogan did.
Right.
Um, the way they say it is Hogan brought WWF to mainstream. Austin saved it. It went from Hogan to Austin to John to Roman. Um, damn, I can't remember who it was, but I remember having this conversation with somebody. Hogan brought it up. Steve Austin saved it. John Cena maintained it, I think was the next one. And now Roman is running with it.
I see. Yeah, that Austin 316 said, "I just whipped your ass," was like you can see as soon as he said it, you saw Michael Hayes just like he knew he just struck gold.
And the next night, people had signs for Austin 316.
Yep, it's just like Attitude Era was great, man. I loved Attitude Era.
I did too, to a point, but I think in several areas for me, they went way over the top because they were dipping into ECW style, and I wasn't really a much of a fan of ECW.
back
Um,
back during the Attitude Era, everybody was watching wrestling. It was everywhere. You know, people that never watched before was watching.
They let's see. I remember seeing a comparison with WWF and WCW. It was like on one show you had 8 million people watching, on the other show you had 7 million people watching on the same night.
Mm-hmm.
That's 15 million people.
Well, I remember, when me and my uncle would watch, religiously every Monday night we were watching, and it was set up to where it was on two different networks, where Raw would start. I think this is what it was. Raw would start an hour, and then an hour in, WCW would come on for 2 hours, and then immediately when Raw was over, they'd do a replay. So we'd watch the first hour of Raw. We'd turn it over to SmackDown or to WCW, watch it entirely, and by the time it was over, we could watch the second half of Raw. It was like 4 hours of wrestling.
You had it all figured out, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, man. It was great, man.
I I videotaped both shows each week, and you see this thing right here, my China Hutch, that is full of nothing but VHS tapes, and from videotaping WWF, WCW. I'm pretty sure I got some GWF shows in there.
Do you realize how long that tape is? Like an 8 hour tape. You used to be able to set them up to wherever you could record 2 hours, 6 hours, or 4 hours, and 8 hours, or whatever it was.
Oh, I always set them up for 8 hours.
Um, Back when I was younger, we were playing paintball, and we had some woods over there by my house, and I'm like, a bunch of guys coming over, and it's like, what are we going to do to mark the boundary? It's like, I don't know. I'll find something. I broke open the old VHS tape and used that as a barrier, and that shit went forever.
Chris just sent a thing here. Breaking news: Kevin Owens could be gone from WWE for 2 to 5 years due to his neck injury.
And
Okay, that's new. Because I read one report earlier today where it said 9 to 12 months. We'll just have to wait and find out after he has his surgery. See what happens. But when you think about it, of all the wrestlers that have come through, Kevin has probably been able to do more than anyone else. Because when he came in, number one, he never had a catchphrase like everybody else does. He never had a single catchphrase. I don't recall a time where he said anything twice. Um, when he was doing when he was coming in for WrestleMania, he always had a throwback T-shirt. His first WrestleMania was in the design of WrestleMania 1. His second WrestleMania was in the design of WrestleMania 2, and so on and so on. And I think he would have done the same thing for this year's WrestleMania too. I don't know how many WrestleManias he's at. For more than a month, he carried around the Winged Eagle title,
mm-hmm.
and up until he took it from Cody, nobody had even seen that title for more than 20 years. 25 years about. And he got to parade with it for a month and a half. Um, he pulled Steve Austin out of retirement for a match after 19 years. He headlined WrestleMania 2 years in a row. He Kevin really has nothing else to prove. Sure, he did. He hasn't won the WWE title, but he did win the Universal title, so that's about the equivalent, depending on how you look at it. But in my opinion, I don't think Kevin has anything left to prove. So if he is forced to retire, I say he's had a one of the best careers he could ever hope for.
Yeah, but you know, he's still. It's going to be hard for him to just walk away.
It will be, yes. And he's still young. He's still. Let's see here. Kevin Owens. He's only 40 years old.
Goodness.
He he, he turns 41 next month. So if his neck injury ends up not being as bad and he's able to get right back into his career, he can easily do another 10 more years. Um, but if he doesn't, then to me, job well done.
And there's a lot of people that are in the business and they don't get to be half as good as what they could be in their careers. Uh, so, we're talking about the inductees. I got crazy
Yeah, we did kind of get away from that a little bit, didn't
bad.
we?
Yeah. First thing I see, we were talking about. Well, we actually got on the conversation and we changed it. Hall of Fame, immortal moment. Steve Austin and Bret Mann hit hard.
Yeah, and this will make Brett the first three-time inductee for the WWE. And in doing so, this also puts it that each time he has been inducted has been in a different decade. He was inducted in as a singles in the 2000s. He was inducted in as a tag team in the 10s. And now he has a match going in the 20s.
Well, I wonder how they're going to do this. Who's going to introduce it? They're both going to show up. And
Yeah, they're both going to be there. That's been confirmed. I think Ken Shamrock should be the one to induct him, unless they give they consider him an inductee because he was a guest um, referee.
referee. Because even though the referee plays a big part in your matches too.
Yeah,
You know, um,
they're considered the ringleader basically.
yeah, they're the ones
So
getting the cues. You got 10 minutes left.
yeah, so if Ken Shamrock also gets inducted into this match, well, immortal moment is what they call it.
Right.
But either way, if Ken Shamrock is considered an inductee, I'm happy with that. He earned it. All three of them. That was well, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was actually match of the year. Um, let me check. Match of the year '97. Yeah, that was a PWI match of the year, voted for by the fans. So yeah, I was
Uh,
glad to see that that match was being inducted because I felt for years that matches need to be inducted because we have had so many great matches and great moments.
your next, well, I guess the first one they announced, maybe the first one they announced,
Triple H.
Triple H. Triple H. And there's a lot of people that don't like the direction. I see one on social media about, they don't like the way he's doing things. Like, shit.
Oh, that he's putting himself into the hall.
And not that, but just the way they say he's screwing, this up. They shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. It's like, hell, wrestling's as big as it's ever been.
Well,
Um,
here's the thing, and Hulk Hogan talked about this in a lot of interviews. When you're the top guy, you want to do everything you can to stay the top guy. So Hulk Hogan did it, Triple H did it, John Cena did it, Bret Hart did it, Steve Austin did it. They all did it. So it's not like, okay, I got the championship belt. Oh, we're going to pass it. Here you go. Who does that?
yeah. I think today, and I see this on different interviews about the camaraderie between the wrestlers behind the stage are now a lot of them are on the same page with a lot that's going on. Whereas opposed to back in Hogan's day, where it's like it's all bite and scratch in the back.
It
Um,
was.
um, and I can see that you're the top guy. You want to stay the top guy. You do what you got.
Yeah.
Um,
And also, like what you were saying, scratching and clawing back in Hogan's days, they were in their infancy too.
do what?
They were still in their infancy too,
Right.
being
Um,
on TV and all of that.
Talking about Hogan, when they had that Raw debut, and he just got booed out of the damn arena.
I know.
Um,
I I don't agree with that. I understand it.
I think it has, it has to do with the racial stuff. A lot of people are saying,
Oh,
um,
there's a lot to it.
and then there's some that are saying, it's because of he voted for Trump, blah blah blah. I was like, no. I said, and it's different. Taker was, adamant about him and Kane were adamant about, who they were supporting and all that, and
Right.
they didn't get the vote, so it's not that. Um, I think over the course, since social media is so out there, and you got so many now, you got so many podcasts from actual ex wrestlers and talking about things that Hogan was kind of a snake in the grass back in the day. If he could put you under the bus to keep himself up there, he was going to do it.
But back then that was how
That
they.
was how the business was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and another story, Honky Tonk Man. He was the
Right.
Intercontinental Champion, and the original plan was Randy Savage was going to beat him for the belt, and Ted DiBiase was going to win the tournament at WrestleMania 4. He was going to go over Hulk Hogan. That was the original plan. But when Honky Tonk refused to drop the belt to Savage, then they changed everything for the tournament, had Savage go over DiBiase. And somebody said this is actually the first time and probably the only time that the world championship was a consolation. Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm wondering what the story was and how it came about. Where all of a sudden Honky Tonk, he's Intercontinental, and then out of the blue, you know, Warrior comes in and just decimates him in record time.
I I am guessing that was retaliation for refusing to
For the
drop
other,
Savage, but to wait that long to do it.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I remember the Warrior. It was on Saturday Night's Main Event. I remember the Warrior's first title defense on Saturday Night's Main Event. It was against the Super Black Ninja, somebody that was dressed all in black, had a mask on. Bobby Heenan was this guy, and no, it was Fuji. Fuji was his guy, and man, he come out there, and I mean, Warrior just destroyed him.
let's see, when was 85?
I wonder who the Super Black Ninja was. Could have
80,
been Bobby Heenan, for all that matter.
okay, okay, here we go. Super Ninja was a wrestler named Rip Oliver. He was managed by Mr. Fuji.
Yeah,
It actually lasted 2 minutes and 11 seconds.
yeah, he just destroyed him. It wasn't even a match.
But at this time, Warrior was winning matches in under 30 seconds. So,
I don't know if the Super Black Ninja even got any offense on it. Because I remember Fuji during the match, they kind of panned to him, and he was like, "What's going on?" Fuck, he's getting his ass beat. That's what's going on.
oh, and on that same show, it was Randy Savage defending the world title against Andre the Giant. That's an interesting match. I need to go back and watch some of these old Saturday night's main events.
I love the excuse me. I loved the old when Macho had the Intercontinental. I loved the matches with him and Steamboat and him and George Animal Steel.
Uh,
Uh,
that match will end up being inducted into the Hall of Fame at some point. And I hope that they do that while Steamboat is still alive.
yeah, which brings us to the next guy, Lex Luger. Lex Luger going to the Hall of Fame.
Long, long, long overdue.
Glad they're doing it while he's still around. Um, he's with DDP, and he's been working with DDP on the DDP yoga, and getting him to get out of the chair and actually walk and stuff like
Last I
that. And
saw, he was able to stand on his own.
right,
I
is
don't know if
DDP in
they
the Hall
have
of
gotten him
Fame?
walking yet.
Is DDP in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, you gotta give him props. Turning a lot of guys' life around. Jake the Snake being the
Oh yeah.
main one, Kevin Nash. Um,
Well, the biggest one that he had was this very first one. Um, it was a big guy. He couldn't even walk, and after however long they were together, this guy's running marathons. But when DDP got a hold of him, he couldn't walk. He could barely walk with the one of those rolling walkers. But he went in. When did he go in? I'm looking for him right now. Uh,
Razor Ramon, Chris Jericho.
2017. He went in 2017. Um, Michelle McCool is also being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. I know there's some backlash on that, saying that she's only getting in the Hall of Fame because she's Taker's wife, but she had a good career.
Yeah. Um, kind of looking and seeing who. Well, there's a football player he helped.
Oh, also with Lex Luger, he has publicly stated that he wants Sting and DDP to be his inductors.
Who is this?
Lex Luger. He wants Sting and DDP. Um, People are wondering about Sting, and somebody even asked Tony Khan, and Tony Khan himself said, "I don't know. I'm just focused on whatever their next show was." And it would be wrong not to let Sting induct him because
Well, I think if Sting wants to do it, he's going to do it.
yeah.
Screw a contract if he's still under contract with them. Um,
Well, the way that Tony Khan does his contracts with his wrestlers, it seems like that he leaves it open to where they can go other places. Um, but WWE, well,
it's.
but again, Sting's retired. He's on a
Mhm.
Legends contract right now. Um, but I think it would be injustice if Sting is not allowed to induct Lex Luger. And then
I
we have
agree.
a surprise going into the Hall of Fame this year. I did not see this coming. The natural disasters are going into the Hall of Fame. Earthquake and typhoon.
They weren't around. Um, I mean, they were around for a few years, but I mean, they weren't around to me. Um,
As a tag team, they were only around for a year and a half.
yeah, it wasn't around very long. Um, so I
But
don't know what's going on with that.
they they do have two championships, two two title rings. Um, it was also because of them that bigger men are showcased because
And then,
Earthquake, he he was a cat. He moved so quick, and Typhoon did too.
and maybe that's they're kind of setting the bar for your bigger guys to be more than just big, large guy. You know,
They really
big.
did. Um, there was a match with Typhoon and Bam Bam Bigelow. I seen clips of two matches that those two had, and they had more of a technical match than anything else. They were doing suplexes and um, carrying each other around the ring. These are two 400-pound men
Yeah.
doing that, and they were having technical matches, which you don't see. Um,
Well, well, I remember Andre's matches back in the day. Back in Mid South days. I mean, it was just him just pummeling him. until he finally pins him. There was
See, I
nothing
never seen
technical.
anything of Andre pre WrestleMania.
There was one where they had handicap matches with him where he was fighting two guys and it just destroying them. And almost, you kind of look at it like almost like it's a sideshow thing, the way they were kind of promoting him, like it's this freak thing.
And Chris, you're right. Bam Bam really was. Is Bam Bam in the Hall of Fame? If he's not, he should be. Bam Bam Bigelow. He is not in the Hall of Fame, so he should be in the Hall of Fame.
He's passed, isn't he? Isn't he dead?
Yes. Died back in 2007.
Akeem's in there, isn't
Who?
he? Akeem.
Akeem?
Yeah.
Like One Man Gang Akeem?
Yeah.
No, he's not in.
He's not in?
He's
That's
not
one
in
that
the
should
Hall
be
of
in.
Fame.
That's one that should be in. One Man Gang was I like the One Man Gang. He was a heel back in Mid South Day, but
Yep.
he was part of Skandar Akbar. I think maybe he was Scan. I know he wasn't in WWF, but Skandar Akbar was a big name back in the Mid South days.
Yeah, I know that name. I like One Man Gang. I I liked him as Akeem.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense, But
He found his African roots.
yeah, wasn't he with Slick?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Um, but no, Bam Bam needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
we still haven't got Superfan in there. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand why he's not in. A lot of people are calling for the green shirt guy to be put in the Hall of Fame. No. If a fan gets put in the Hall of Fame, Vlad needs to be first.
yep, I agree.
Um,
That man has spent a lot of money,
he
put a
had,
lot of money in WWE.
I think, what he say in that show that he went to 20 or 25 shows a year.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money. And to think, as of when he was doing that interview, he just lived in that little tiny apartment.
mm-hmm. So I live in a tiny apartment, spend all his money on wrestling shows.
Yeah, and up until COVID, he spent his whole life living with his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, and he was enjoying life. He enjoys life. I say that. Money can't buy happiness.
mhm.
You know,
And it wasn't just the WWF shows that he went to. He went to WCW shows too. Because I remember seeing him on video at the 1992 Halloween Havoc. So if they ever get to inducting non-employees, Vlad needs to be the first one. He way more than earned it.
hmm
Uh,
Well, didn't they induct the little kid that had cancer?
Connor,
Connor, didn't they induct him?
yeah, he was the first. He was the first one inducted when they did the Warrior Award.
Right. Or maybe in the Warrior Award that I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Um, But they haven't done the Warrior Award the last couple of years, and mainly is because his wife Dana has always been the one doing the inductions. Well, she doesn't work there anymore, and since she hasn't worked there, they stopped doing that award, which I don't think is right. Um,
That whole weekend, that speech and everything he gave the night before he passed away was just, it's almost like he knew, this is, I'm fixing to check out.
yeah, especially that speech that he gave the night before.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Uh, but when you look at him now, knowing after the fact, it you can tell something was wrong because he looked like he was completely blown up in the interview when he went out and did the thing at Raw. Even that picture of him making up with Hulk Hogan, he looked blown up.
Like a lot of fluid.
No, it's like very very flush. Um, you look at his cheeks; it's puffed out. It's hard. It's hard to describe. Um, but yeah, it's sad. But I'm glad that they was able to do what they could with him. It's almost like he was waiting to get that recognition and get into the Hall of Fame before he died. Because that was the last thing he needed, and now he's ready to go.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like. Um, but yeah, natural disasters were a surprise because I thought for sure they were going to announce demolition because they had announced that demolition is now under a Legends contract with them. So I thought
One of them's gone, aren't they?
Crush,
Is it Crush is dead?
yeah, but
So Axe and Smash are still there.
yep, they are. Um, but with that said, that was only done just in these last few months when they showed the Hall of Fame package for natural disasters. Triple H was talking with John Tenta's family at last year's Hall of Fame, saying that telling them he wanted to induct him in this year
Well, maybe we'll wind up getting that announcement soon.
for demolition.
Yeah,
I think it'll be next year.
think it'll be next year.
Yeah, I think it'll be next year
Well,
because
they ain't really haven't announced too many. They ain't got but what, three actual people or groups?
Triple H, Luger,
Lex and the
Michelle
Chemical.
McCool, natural disasters, and the
Okay.
match.
Yeah. Well, you got four people.
Yeah. So, but if you look at the last couple of years that they've been doing it, they've been having very smaller classes instead of large classes. Um, they are no longer doing the legacy wing, which they still have a shitload of long ago wrestlers that could go into the Hall of Fame. So I think they should bring back the legacies. Um, have they done a celebrity last couple of years? Let's see. Oh yeah, they did Muhammad Ali last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that because that was the whole final boss bringing the belt out and
Yeah,
all that. that kind of get back to WrestleMania with the 41 coming. You got the. Uh, I wonder how The Rock is going to be tied into, because you haven't seen him. It's just been Cena and Cody. Mostly Cena going out there and bitching and moaning for 10, 15 minutes.
But here's the thing: Cena is not doing like what other heroes do. He is still basically telling the truth,
Right.
talking about how all the fans shit on him for so many years, and all he has not said anything that is not true.
Well, it's just the way wrestling is. You
Yeah.
know, you're either a bad guy or you're a good guy. And when you're a good guy and then you turn, you know, people are going to boo your ass.
But
You know?
the bad guy is making excuses. They are trying to come up with some. John is not doing any of that. He is not stumbling trying to come up with an excuse. He is not cowering from anything. He is still very much in your face and cooking.
Well, I mean, he's always been good on the mic,
Yeah.
um, and not as good as Rock, but he's always been good on the mic, and it's
Oh,
like the emotional part comes out.
money.
Um, but hearing Cody come out there and talking to him, and of course, he's getting the crowd to chant "piece of shit," and then you can't wrestle. You know, I was like,
That
it's
was
good.
that was a good one. That one there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cody is one of the very, very, very few that was able to give it right back to John.
yeah, and there's of course social media people are talking about Cena just cooked him. Cena cooked him. It's like I don't know what the hell show you're watching because he gave it right back to him.
Yeah.
Of course, and when he come out there, come on, John, make fun of me. You got to notice I got a list.
People were expecting what happened with John Cena and Roman Reigns years ago. I think some people were expecting that to happen with Cody.
Yeah, Cody just threw it. I was like, go ahead, talk about my lisp. Talk about this, talk about that.
Talk about the tattoo.
Yeah, the arm tattoo on my neck. Just like I think it was funny, man. It was entertaining. Um,
It was very good.
but we don't have very long before WrestleMania. Rock is going to wind up showing up at some point in time before the show.
I don't know. I've been hearing that the rumor is that The Rock told them that he will not be at WrestleMania, but that makes
That
no sense.
I don't buy that.
Yeah, it
I
makes
don't
no
buy
sense. Um, but I'm also hearing that Travis Scott is going to be at WrestleMania, and I don't think he has any damn business being in that ring.
Well, they got him. He's got the song for the theme song for WrestleMania and all that. I'm sure he's going to want to performing. During the show is like that's a part where almost like Super Bowl halftime show where I'm just going to go out and get me something to eat, something to drink.
Yeah, well,
I'm
if
not,
he does end up performing, I'm going to go use the bathroom or something. I have
yeah,
no interest in seeing anything he does. I never even knew anything of him until he came out with Jay Uso.
right. And sitting there smoking weed on the show
Yeah,
up in the stands, like, what
but
the
up
hell are you
until
doing?
that moment, I had no idea he existed.
And then he was like drinking, like just the whole
Yeah,
time. I was like, come on, man.
I get bringing in people for the followers and all that, like what they did with Speed. I show Speed.
Hmm.
I get that, but there comes a point in time where it's like you got to watch who you bring in.
Hmm. You got to look at them. What are they going to do to the brand? Are they going to bring it down and cause controversy? Or are they going to, give us something? You know, I understand you're getting a lot of followers and all that, but it comes with a price.
Well, he's already got two strikes against him. One, smoking pot on live TV on a wrestling show, and two, busting Cody Rhodes' eardrum.
Hmm.
They,
But
they, need, they need to put him in the ring with Braun Breaker.
yeah, that'll end real quick. That reminds me of just a memory just popped up with the whole Johnny Knoxville match. You remember that
I like that match.
with the big hand? Wow.
I like that. It does not get any better. And even Sami Zayn himself said that he's damn proud of that match. But I don't
Well,
think
it was an
anybody
entertaining match.
else
I'll say
would have
that.
been able to make that work.
No, I mean it was entertaining. You
Yeah,
know, just you're there for you put on a show for entertainment. Period.
yeah.
You know.
And they did so well with the cameras and everything because you did not see that hand. It was obviously out there that entire time,
Right.
but we at home never saw that hand until boom. It was.
Classic.
Yeah, that was match of the night. It was. Um, so John Cena turning heel. Holy shit. Nobody saw that coming.
No, not until they were hugged and you could see that blank stare on his face. Like, oh shit,
Yeah.
here it comes.
It no, even babyface versus babyface, John and Cody, that would have been a really exciting match. But this just took it into a completely different stratosphere. Um, and at the same time, it makes sense because this is the last time I'm going to get John, and so this
And
is it. It's time to pull the trigger on the things that we were too afraid to do.
yeah, and who's to say this is like a real wild card? Who's to say that Rock don't show up and try to interfere and sing in the Rock, you know, tie up? Or I don't think it'll happen. I think there will be a day when Cody goes heel.
Oh yeah, there you can see
Um,
that plain as day.
I think there's going to be a point in time when he does go in that route.
Well, if you think about it, there are some things that he does now that's heelish. Look at him. Look at him and Kevin. Look at that match that those two had. That's not a cookie cutter baby face right there.
Well,
Cody
he's
went
not.
on Kevin.
He's not, and that with the whole verbalization of calling him a piece of shit and all that stuff. Your everyday Hogan cookie cutter don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're pushing Cody in that kind of direction, or he's taking it on himself doing it and going in that kind of direction with it. So you don't have the old Hogan stereotype.
Eventually, the fans are going to get tired of seeing him coming out in a suit all the time.
Yeah, and it kind of you think about it. How do you rate Stone Cold? you know, it's like him and Taker. You know, babyface or heel. They're they're really not either one. They're kind of a mixture of both. Could you
The
could
Rock.
you
That's how The Rock describes himself. Um, that he's not heel or face.
he's entertainment.
Yeah.
You know. He's an entertainer, and you know,
I
more.
would like to see The Rock, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman, and The Miz in a mic off.
I don't think Cody would. I like Cody, but I don't think he fits in there. I don't think. I think the Rock. It'd be Rock and Stone Cold would be the two top. Now
Stone.
Paul Heyman. Now Paul Heyman. He can give his own. When he did that induction, when he accepted the induction and all. I mean, he was. He said
Paul
what he thought.
has a
He
way
said,
of getting your attention and making you believe 20 different things of the same thing.
mhm.
I, I don't think anybody can touch him on that. Um, Gift of Gab is definitely The Rock.
Oh yeah, he can just stuff that comes out of his mouth just out of the blue is like,
Yeah,
especially the whole making fun of everybody.
yeah. What was it? He would talk about monkey crap, monkey
Yeah,
piss, calling John Cena fruity pebbles.
yeah. Rudy Poo.
Yep, Rudy Poo.
Last year when he started coming back up when they saw the switch, with the main event and all that, he immediately turned, that heel part on, and just
Oh,
started talking about
going
trailer
out
park
in
trash and
cocaine and all that meth.
yeah, just he. I mean, God,
But
he can get
here's
a
the thing: was he telling the truth about these towns?
he can turn a damn crowd against him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But here's the thing: they were loving it.
yeah. I mean, you coming out there and you getting ribbed by the Rock is like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
Um, yeah. As far as the gift of gab and just never knowing what word is going to come out because it'd be the most random thing. Um, what did he do to Baron Corbin? He got some chant going on with Baron Corbin, and it was very.
I remember that vaguely. I remember what you're talking about.
Chant. Get the rock. Get on Baron Corbin. STD. Because, well, here's what he did. He was calling Baron Corbin a super tough dude. Yes. And the crowd just went with it.
Oh, and you think about a chant. I know we got way off subject and topics and stuff, but
Yeah.
remember one that just still to this day is chanted out. What? What?
I think that one happened by accident, didn't it?
That was Stone Cold.
Yeah. I
No, he was like interviewing somebody and somebody'd say something. He'd be like, "What?" He'd say something. What?
Yeah, and
Stone
I
Cold.
think he did that by
What?
accident, and the crowd just
Yeah. Now it's like you hear it at every show.
yeah.
When wrestlers get on the mic and start talking and they pause, over here you hear what?
Well, what
What?
has now turned into yeet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because every time Jason says something, yeet.
Yeah.
Um,
Or somebody
oh,
can get
you know,
what?
Jay,
Yeet. What?
you know that
Yeet.
Jimmy and Jay are going to be going into the Hall of Fame as a team. There's no question about that one.
Oh yeah.
Roman's going in for sure. Oh boy, I wouldn't be surprised if down the road the Roman and Cody the match goes into the Hall of Fame. I would not be surprised if that
Well,
happened.
you got so many wrestlers now that'll be in the Hall of Fame. You got Sami Zayn, you got Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. I mean, what you're seeing now, one day, you know,
Miz
hopefully,
is definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame for sure.
hopefully we'll still be around. But you got so many people that are going to be in there.
Rock still isn't in the Hall of Fame yet.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't understand that one.
Well, maybe they're just waiting because Rock still has more to contribute.
Right.
Um, but John Cena's not in the Hall of Fame, although I have a feeling that probably next year he'll be the headliner.
Probably.
Batista is not in the Hall of Fame yet, but the thing about Batista, I personally don't feel like that he's a headliner. Other people feel that he deserves to be a headliner. I don't. I don't think he has had the impact of like Ric Flair has or Triple H Evolution. People are calling for Evolution to be put into the Hall of Fame, the stable. I don't see it because as a stable, to me, they did not have the impact as Four Horsemen did or Bloodline.
Well, it's different. The bloodline thing is just like it went on its own, you know, own heights. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
they did that story so. Excuse me. They did that story so well over the years that it's
and it's still going.
right. Uh,
You okay?
oh, but it's going so much of a higher plateau than most of your regular stables that come across for 6 months, a year and a half.
Yeah.
Um, the bloodline reminds me of the Hart Foundation, not in the sense of being the same, but that kind of how's the word to put it? That kind of um, I guess sticks with you. Um, what did he didn't even have a name for his group back in the day when he had Andre and because big back then you had a lot of managers. You don't really have that anymore. You know, I mean, Paul Heyman's what you got. That's really the only manager that I can think of right now that you have that come down uh,
You got
in,
Scarlett.
in an actual manager position.
There's Scarlett with Karrion Cross. Um, an an argument could be made for Maxine Dupree, but she does get in the ring now and then. Um, well, she's been getting better.
Yeah, you really don't have a set person or whatever that has a manager, and that's all they do. They're just the corner person. Heenan's the only. Uh, Paul Heyman's the only one you got right now.
But they did have Paul Ellering until he got released. Let's see here. Personnel. Oh, there's a guy in NXT. Um, oh, now he's being called an assistant general manager, Mr. Stone, Rob Stone. He's NXT, so he was kind of like a manager, but now he's assistant general manager to Ava.
Okay.
Uh, for a minute, William Regal was in Alexis King's corner. Um, Trick Williams at one time was not a manager per se, but he was in Carmelo Hayes's corner. Um, yeah, I miss the managers. Again, this goes all the way back to the early '90s when we had Bobby Heenan and Mr. Fuji and Jimmy Hart.
Yeah. 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 You got Jimmy
You-
Hart. You got Slick. You just have
When
to
you
be
look at Jimmy Hart now, he's 80
alert.
something years old, and you can't tell by the way that he acts and he sounds. He is just as energetic now as he was 40 years ago. How crazy is that?
It's ginseng.
Yeah. Um, oh, Michael Cole will eventually be put in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Let's see. I think Jim Ross already is. Lillian Garcia at one point has to be put in the Hall of Fame because she was a ring announcer for a long time before she had to quit. Yeah, there's still plenty of people out there that will eventually be put in the Hall of Fame. But for next year, I'm thinking John Cena will be the headline and Demolition will be the sole team to go in. And then take Mankind as that immortal moment. Those are my three picks to go into the Hall of Fame next year. Um, but WrestleMania is 2 weeks away. Can you believe it?
Yeah, no, it's creeping up quick. I'm off both of those days, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to watch the first night or not. Um, we got a personal thing going on that day.
That first day is going to be a long day because they're going to have stand and deliver in the morning.
I'll be out of town that morning. I
Okay.
don't know what time I'm gonna be back. Um, I don't know if well we hadn't had a show since then. Back a few weeks ago, my father-in-law passed away. Um,
Ugh.
that we're having his graveside on the 19th, so I'll be tied up with that during that day. So I may have to watch WrestleMania on replay at least the first day.
Oh, here we go. Um, okay, so hi, Virginia will be at 7 Eastern both nights, which means the pre-show will be at 5 Eastern.
So it starts at 4 here pre-show. Actually,
The
show
pre-show,
starts at
yes,
6.
And Stand and Deliver is 1 p.m. So 12 for you.
That's gonna be a long day for the whole crew. Which is WrestleMania. It's a long week. It's a drawn out week thing for them.
And for Stand and Deliver, we have a triple threat match for the NXT Championship: Oba Femi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. And then you have the NXT Women's Championship. So far, no challenger has been announced for Stephanie Vaquer, but she is going to have a match. And then they have a ladder match for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Sitz
No,
will be in that one, and Kalani Jordan and Zaria are two of those that will be in that match. So Stephanie Vaquer vacated the North American Championship.
so that'll be a good match.
Or anything with Stephanie in it is going to be a good match. I really like her. Um,
So Ruka in there?
huh?
So Ruka is not in
I'm hoping that she'll be in the North American title match.
there?
Um, as far as the women's championship, I have a feeling because somebody's been coming after her for last couple of weeks. Fallon Henley, I think, has been coming after her, so I think she may end up being her challenger. But I hope that Soruka is in the North American Championship.
I cannot wait for her to get on the main roster.
Oh, I was
Cannot wait.
disappointed that she wasn't in. I really wanted to see her in the Rumble. So, huh, this is interesting. The okay, Stand and Deliver will be in Las Vegas or Las Vegas area.
Right.
when when they debuted the North American Championship for the women's, it was in a ladder match in Las Vegas
Really?
last year.
A repeat.
So, technically, it's Enterprise, but it's Vegas.
Right. I'm
So,
fixing to have to go.
huh?
I said I'm fixing to have to go.
I'm tired too. I'm ready to go to bed. I've been up since 6 this morning.
Same here. I didn't sleep. I ain't been able to sleep the past few days at all. I wake up all the time in the middle of the night. It just kills me.
Okay.
But
I,
it's catchy.
I don't know if there's anything we haven't talked about to try to get caught up. Um, how are you looking for next weekend?
That's what I was fixing to pull up. I'm off the 13th. As of right now, I have nothing on my calendar for the 13th. Imagine that. Um, yeah, definitely let's do the 13th.
All right.
Should I do something in the afternoon?
Yeah, we'll have to do it early because I'm a guest on another show at 7 that night.
Okay. I'll be home. I'll be home by 2 o'clock my time,
Okay.
and maybe we'll have um, a little more on WrestleMania inductions and matches and all that.
Well, hopefully they'll have announced something in the next week. So, Alrighty. And we did all of this in less than 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a record there.
Yeah, it is.
Stayed on topic pretty much the whole time too.
Did we?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we drifted off a couple of times. We started talking about something and we drifted off, but it's about wrestling.
Yeah, we did stay on wrestling
Yeah, it
90%
wasn't.
of the time, I think.
Yeah,
Well, all right. Well, and we're live, so I don't have to worry about scheduling this to air tomorrow. So that saves less work, less work for me to do. So, all right. Well, I guess we will be back next week at our regularly scheduled time. Uh, so, Chris, out there in the audience, thank you for playing along with us. And
if he's still there, he might have got
yeah,
buried.
well, let's see. We have no, probably not. So, all right. Well, we will go ahead and end the show, and we will see all of you guys next time.
Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Have
Or
a
if you're watching a replay, appreciate it.
good have a good night, guys.
See ya.